Welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast with Core 4 Complete Fitness. Your episode is starting in 3, 2, 1.
Alrighty, what is shaking, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Complete Fitness Podcast. This is episode 122. I hope you are off to an awesome day this morning. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We're doing numbies, as they say. Not really, but the podcast is growing. We're getting more subscribers on the YouTube channel. Our YouTube videos are starting to get more views, and then as well as on the streaming services, Spotify and Amazon Audible and Apple Podcasts, which is probably the most popular one for podcasts. It's continuing to grow, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Please continue to. Thank you so much if you've been with us for so long. This is 122, like I said, and it's been over 2 years doing this podcast. We started in January of 2021, and so we did all of 2021, all of 2022, and now we're 4 months, almost 5 months into 2023. We never really talked about the fact that we've been doing this for 2 years now. So a lot of good stuff. I've really enjoyed doing this. If you are somebody who is new to the podcast, guys, go back in the archives, if you will. They're all still there. They're going to be there forever. But look at some of our older podcasts. There's a lot of good stuff, maybe stuff that we have not touched on. Tons of stuff that we have touched on, because if you know and you listen to me doing this podcast, I said this in the last podcast 1,000 times. Go back and look at those. There's, like I said, 122 of them. And we've only been on YouTube and doing these with video for the last, 20. So there's a ton back there. As always, guys, Core 4 supplements, and get all your supplement needs, guys. 99%, $99, and you will save 10%. And then you can use promo code podcast at checkout to save 10% as well. So good stuff on there. We also have our merchandise at core4completefitness.com/merch. Got some new summer tank tops that just went up there. Pretty cool. If you ask me, I might be a little biased. How are things going? Check in with yourself wherever you are watching or listening. Again, thank you if you are. I hope things are going well. We're dealing with a furnace fiasco. We're replacing my whole furnace and air conditioning unit today. Oh, I'm so glad it's going to be over, but boy, was that not fun to pay that much money. It was one of those things when we bought the house, they were old, and we knew, budgeted for it, and we knew it was going to be something that we had to do. And it sucks once it's actually here, You always go, yeah, okay, that's future me's problem. And here we are, the day of reckoning. They're going to be there all day. 7:30 to 7:30 is their hours for a furnace and AC replacement. Damn. So I have no house for today. But when I do get my house back, rest assured it will be heated. Annoying that it needs to be heated, because 2 weeks ago it was 80 degrees here. And for the last 2 weeks it's been 45 degrees here in Michigan, which, in a word, sucks. It's April 24th. Anyway, so that's lame. That's the lameness of my time. I am excited, though, to have it be done. It's sweet upgrade for the house once selling season comes. Whenever that is, don't know when that's going to be. But that's one thing we don't have to worry about, trying to sell a house with a 20-year-old furnace anymore. We're going to be like, that boy brand new. Give me a bunch of more money than we bought it for. What do you say about that? So that's the goal. That's fun. Another thing going on with me this week, my sweet little Rowan turns 1 on Saturday. 1 year of life for that boy. Crazy fast. Everybody tells you it goes by fast, blah, 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 blah. It definitely does. I completely agree. Slow days, fast years is one of the most accurate things I've ever heard said to me. I've heard it from countless people, and it's very true in my experience that, days are long, especially back months ago when he wasn't sleeping and blah, 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 all the growing pains. And when you first have a baby, how brutal it is, and being scared and not understanding what to do and what not to do. And then, it's all a whirlwind. And, but then somewhere, for me at least, around the 7-8 month mark, everything just started getting a lot more fun, um, and so maybe it was the fact that I was sleeping through the night. But also I think it was just him becoming, a little person, a little more interactive and knowing who we are and laughing. His laugh is the best sound in the world. And we, because it's his birthday, I was just looking through before I started the podcast, looking back, at all the pictures, which is an awesome thing that I just kind of realized and learned with our phones, taking pictures. Between me and my wife, we probably have a picture of Rowan damn near every single day of his life. Just, lately it's gotten more fun when he's doing something. Oh, excuse me, just yawn talk the whole podcast. Lately it's gotten more fun, as he's, we'll take a picture or a video of him doing something funny. But before that, it was just simply looking at him, just sending a picture of like, this is our little man. We made him. Do you believe it? I still don't sometimes. I'll still catch myself going, God, how did we create you? That is insane. You're this little guy with your own little personality, and we made you. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, it's really cool to look back. Like I've looked back through the last year, and basically saw in pictures the first year of his life. And it's really cool. You really do, like, I see everything through him in the sense that it's all cyclical. So last spring, he didn't really get to experience that much because he wasn't here, and then he was born April 29th. And so we just got a little bit of May, and then summer was here. But for summer, he was a 1-month-old, 2-month-old, 3-month-old. So he was really, really, little bean the whole time, little bean bag we were carrying around. And so this summer is going to be a lot of fun because he's going to be nearly walking. By the time summer ends, he'll be walking. We have him on little, like, a bike thing that we push there's a bunch of different things that he is into now. And so it's going to be fun to experience this summer with him. And then into fall, last fall he was 6 months old for Halloween. And so he didn't really get it. We put him in a Buzz Lightyear costume, and it was cute and it was fun. But, we were trick-or-treating for 20 minutes. And then it was like, okay, we got to go home. He's got to go to bed. So this year will be fun. This fall, he's going to experience fall kind of for the first time. And so it's kind of a cool thing that I'm learning is going to be very, very cyclical. And there's, spring is always going to remind me of when he was born now, because it was obviously the most hectic, chaotic, amazing time of my entire life. It's a crazy high that you get in when that happens. And rightfully so. You created a life, but also how much you've changed. Like my life immediately changed. And looking back throughout the last year of my life, I'm a different person. And I view it as better. I think I'm a much happier person. I'm a less worried person. Well, that's not true. I'm definitely worried, but in a different, the things I used to spend time on and really let hinder and attack my days, in a lot of those departments I don't do anymore because there's bigger fish to fry. I don't care. Is Rowan okay? Okay. Everything will be fine, and he's really just, it's so cool, selfishly, just thinking about me. He has really done so much to help me just grow and just become more confident. And just, when I was looking back at all these pictures, I noticed this one, and it reminded me of when he was, the first week of his life, maybe 5-6 days old. And he was crying, and it was like midnight, and we just wanted to go to bed, and he was up crying, and we didn't know what was going on. When it's that new, you don't know what life is. So he's crying and he's upset, and we go, does he need to eat? Does he not need to sleep? Does he need to sleep? Is he overtired? Is he undertired? Does he wearing too many clothes? Is he too hot? Is he wearing not enough clothes? Is he too cold? And I picked him up out of his little bassinet thing, and I just laid him on my chest, and he fell asleep. He stopped crying and he fell asleep. And that was, I remember, because I just saw the picture, so it's all fresh in my mind. I remember that was a big moment for me to realize, like, okay, I got this. At the end of the day, me and my wife are all he needs. And I'm more than equipped to do this, to just love and take care and coddle and nurture this little guy. And you kind of don't know that before. And that moment was the first moment I felt like, again, this is 5-6 days into having him on this earth, I felt equipped. I felt, okay, I got this. And the confidence that has given me over the last year to just be just more positive and passion focused and purpose focused, it's invaluable. I can't explain it, can't emphasize it enough. So it was cool. It was cool to look back and see that. And then, a couple months later, it's Halloween, like I said, a couple months. And now he's him, and we have our inside jokes, and, we laugh and put him up on my shoulders now. And he loves it. We dance around and walk around, and I chase him. And, it's just amazing what the power that, I feel like the first I was 30 when he was born. First 29 years of my life was just like me idling at a boiling point. And the second he was born, and the second I kind of realized I could be a dad and, hopefully be a good dad, it kind of broke through that boiling point, and now I've arrived. I'm here. It's almost like a second life, where I'm like, okay, I kind of lived in this unsure universe where I was not certain about myself or everything else. I kind of thought everyone had a better understanding than me. I kind of thought everyone was more prepared, more equipped than me, and I kind of felt like I was like the low man on the totem pole. And I'm talking about just in society. I'm not talking about with individuals, but just with society. Like, these people they have a life, they have a house, they have money, they have that. I'll never get that, and if I do, it's going to be way less than that, and it's going to be blah 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 blah. Kind of silly thinking, but since the last year of my life and the growth that I have changed, as I don't feel that. I feel like I very much belong. We're all in this society, and there's things that I can offer, and there's things that I can learn from. And just reflecting on it after looking at those pictures and thinking about the last year of my life, and thinking about Rowan and how much he's grown, and how he's just a happy little boy, and he's been sick, and he had COVID, and he was sick, and he had, fevers and teething, and he didn't sleep for 4 months, and, all the stuff we battled through and got through, and all the stuff in front of me that, he's only a year old, that Lord knows what's going to happen. It's just kind of been fun to look back, and it's been kind of emotional, honestly. And the reason I bring that up is that it's a big change. It symbolizes a huge change in my life, and that is something that is guaranteed to happen. Doesn't mean having a baby, and everybody does not need to have a baby to feel that way. It's just me, and that's what it's been for me. I wish I would have had him when I was 20. Now that's stupid, because I had no money or no idea what I wanted to do. No girlfriend, none of that. So, let alone wife. So of course I didn't. But as far as with that mindset and that boiling point and threshold. It's frustrating. I waited till 30 to start feeling, better. Anyway, it's a change, right? It's a huge, significant change. We've had many changes in life, of course. We all have. And the reason I bring that up is change is something that is guaranteed. And it's something that we always have to accommodate. We're always aging. We're always adding people, adding relationships, subtracting relationships, getting closer to people, getting further apart from people, changing careers, changing jobs, having children, getting married, getting divorced. There's change that is, it's certain. But every single change, I believe, we have the power to make a progression and less a regression or nothing, or just a change. So it has to do, in my opinion, just what we take and learn from a certain situation. That being said, I'm not going to get into that, but I just want to, that's just a side note. So the reason I bring this up is change is growing, and a lot of us probably can look around and see loved ones as we age and as things go on, not doing the things they used to do, which is scary, which is everyone's kind of biggest fear. I think at the root of things is that change that happens and we can't do things that we used to be able to do, and blah, 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 blah. And to start laying the foundation now to realize, okay, if this change is coming, no matter what, I'm going to be as prepared as I possibly can to do it, is again invaluable. And it's just kind of something that I'm taking for myself with looking at all over this last year for Rowan and how much I've personally grown. I'm taking that as a huge life lesson for me. And so going forward in my life, that is something that I am going to be focused on. There's going to be hurdles. There always is. There always are. There's going to be way more than what I've experienced so far. They're going to be different because it's going to probably, life happens and you start living your life just for Rowan. I could give a two shits about me, what I do now, as long as I'm here to be there for him. That's really all I care about, which is a totally different thing that is just, again, brand new to me. And so point is relating it and bringing it into the fitness world is we can't necessarily, in my opinion, afford to let those moments not be profound to us. And maybe I'm just reading into things. Maybe I'm too deep. Maybe I'm a hippy dippy weirdo and I'm spending too much time thinking and I'm too emotional for it. Maybe. But I view everything as like, oh, good. That happened. That sucked. That was brutal. That was a horrible time in my life, or that was a beautiful time in my life. That was the best time of my life. And I've really kind of changed and learned to find out what, the lesson from it and the things to learn. And it always helps to observe. Sometimes you learn from other people and seeing the way they lived and they did that and they didn't do that. And you're able to kind of learn lessons without experiencing maybe hurt, because all of the lessons we learn, most of them come from failure, not successes. And it hurts to fail and 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 fail. And so if you can learn from other people's mistakes or failures, if you want to call them that, then maybe you don't have to fail as much. Maybe you don't have to be the one that turns 65 and can't get up and down off the ground. Maybe you go, man, I saw my colleague. She's really not putting a good, emphasis on her nutrition or her exercise or anything like that. She doesn't care. I know she's a chronic smoker. I know this. And look, she's miserable. She's unhappy. She's depressed. She's overweight. She's whatever, you name it. And maybe you can go, man, even if it has nothing to do with the fitness world, that's one thing, that you can get away from what's scaring you, and you go, okay, well, I'm gonna get emphasis on moving my body. and so on and so forth. So I did read this interesting thing, which I wanted to bring up about 10 minutes ago, but such is the podcast life. Got on a tangent. Thank you for bearing with me. I heard that 95% of our thoughts are repeats from the past, which is interesting. And I took it as two ways. One being like just the objective matter of fact. We only know a certain amount of words, and our IQs and our knowledge is only a certain amount at this exact point. So all of our thoughts exist in that world, right? So they're all things from the past. 95% of our thoughts are repeats from the past. We've learned, we've seen things. This didn't work. This did work. So now I know you can't do this in that situation because that will yield this result, whatever. And then I also took that as 95% of thoughts are repeats from the past. That was the one way, the very objective way, like, okay, we're only here. But the other way I took it from was man, I lost my train of thought. Was we're not future oriented. We're not thinking of things in the future. We're just thinking of how this in the future. And like basically what I thought about was when we're faced with a decision like, hey, you should move jobs. You relate to the past, all of the times you had to make a big change and how scary and stressful it was. And so that is something that deters you. But if you weren't relaying and thinking about those 95% of your thoughts weren't coming from your past experience, you would have a way different outlook on this big career change that I'm going to make. And so I took it as that way, how the past, being past focused doesn't really help us progress ever. It's fun to be nostalgic. It's fun to think back on fun things. Like I just said, I look back at photos from 1 year of my son's life, literally today, and it was awesome and beautiful, and it was profound. It was a great moment for me. But if I live my life just thinking about that past and wanting that year back and doing that year over again, that end up being a sad life because we know that's not the way the world works. It's never going to happen again like that, never. And so to be stuck in our past, the second part of this quote was 95% of thoughts are repeats from our past. 80% of them are negative, meaning they're not those positive thoughts and memory. Of course, we have beautiful memories, but we have a lot of negative memories, but we're not talking about memories. We're just talking about thoughts. Thoughts come and go. That was one of the best things of advice I've ever heard in my entire life is thoughts are thoughts. If we get handicapped on thoughts, it's a hard way to live. Thoughts are thoughts. They come and go, man. They don't mean anything. Sometimes they do. Most of the times they don't. Thoughts are thoughts. Pop in your head, they're gone. Thoughts are thoughts. And that was huge for me, dealing with, the way I have felt before in the past and my negative thinking and, whatever, anxiety and all of this kind of stuff. Someone saying thoughts are thoughts was the most profound thing in the world to me. And I went, oh, okay, you're right. Everything I think doesn't have to be so detrimental to me. But we can't, what I learned from this is we can't necessarily afford to live that with that unconscious, thought pattern because 95% of the thoughts are thoughts from the past and 80% of those thoughts are negative. So it comes from reframing and constantly working to learn and to adjust and to wake up every day with a conscious effort to be positive, to be a change, to make things better. And whether it's something like what I attribute a lot of my being able to grasp this a little more to with having Rowan, having my son, maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's just putting in practice, whatever it may be, adding that positivity to your day it's a life hack. Changes everything. And the best way to do that is I found through gratitude. I try to start my day every day with gratitude, things that I am grateful for. I woke up this morning. I got to sleep in because then I help Candace because she just gets ready and goes to work on Tuesday. So I wake up with Rowan at 6, so I don't go into work at 4. So I'm up at 6 with Rowan so she can get ready, and then she goes to work, and then the babysitter comes and the furnace guy comes. So it's kind of a headache. Then I got to get here and do everything by like 8, and babysitter leaves at noon. So this is my hour, my window to get most of my work done until Chan gets home from work at 4, and then I'm back at the gym until we close. But the older me this would have been a brutal day to wake up and attack. And I'm just having less and less of those, I've learned. And maybe it has nothing to do with that as far as the Rowan thing. I definitely believe it does. But maybe it's what I do know, whether it is or whether it isn't, it is a choice every day to focus more on the positivities. And I do. And I think you should too. And the easiest way to get there is gratitude. And it's the old cliche thing, you took everyone in the world's problems and you put it in a bowl, everyone would just take their problems back. I think that's very much true. And so we all have a ton to be grateful for, no matter where our life in. Maybe you are looking back and going, man, I used to be in such great shape 25 years ago and I really let myself go. It's not over. Get on the horse, move your body, emphasize hydration, emphasize protein, mindful of our calories, move your body again, move your body. We're meant to move, baby. Humans got to move. We got rules, just like a dog has rules, just like a cow has rules. People got rules. We need to move our body. We need to stay hydrated. We need to eat real foods, not crap, not door dashing McDonald's 3 times a week, not getting pizza the other days of the week, not having a lunch every single day of Jimmy John's and chips and a pop to wash it down. It's not real food. Certain aspects are, but a lot of aspects aren't. And people need to have certain foods. So that's just my last little relate to the things we always say. I don't know what the title of this podcast is going to be. I liked it. Got a little emotional. Always fun to do. I hope that's okay. I hope that finds you well, which is one of my least favorite things to hear. But I honestly, genuinely mean that. I hope it does. Hope it was a fine listen to you, and maybe it can inspire you to, if you are somebody who is not currently crushing it, to get things rolling. Start those days with gratitude. From there, get your body moving. It's actually snowing and raining outside right now, which is wah. But that just means the summer's going to be that much better. And we're almost there. And at least I'm going to have a furnace now to keep me and my 1-year-old son, unbelievable, warm. And my wife and my dog. But we were talking about Rowan, so I had to bring him up. I just didn't want to think it was just us there. That's all, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was a good listen for you. Again, if you're new to the podcast, look back at the archives. We got a bunch of good stuff in there. You kind of see how we've grown since being just gym owners. Corey, of course, through the pandemic till now, and where we are now compared to where we were just a year ago. It's kind of fun to look back and see. And then, maybe there's stuff that you could really benefit hearing now that we've already covered and might not cover again. So that's that, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.